Hello and welcome to the Adam and Nard Show. Today's episode is going to be about ChatGPT, and I have with me my brother Adam Lash, and he's going to talk about it further more in depth.
Hey man, how are you doing?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for having me as a guest on my own show.
Well, it's our show.
Yeah.
Can you briefly tell me what is ChatGPT?
Well, ChatGPT is, in my opinion, the biggest invention in human history right now, and it's going to be the precursor to AGI. We talked about AGI in the previous episode, so artificial general intelligence. ChatGPT is, in fact, a chatbot that can do a lot of things. It was created by OpenAI, and now there's version 4, GPT-4. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, which means that it's based on the transformer technology that we talked about.
For some reason, it reminds me of the movie...
Transformers.
No, not Transformers. That movie that we saw, the two idiots, the one with Ashton Kutcher, the Continuum Transfunctioner.
The Continuum Transfunctioner. Yes, exactly.
I remember that episode.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie. That was crazy. Dude, Where's My Car? That's
Dude,
the name
Where's
of the
My
movie.
Car? Yeah, exactly. It was one of the
Continuum
funniest movies I ever watched.
Exactly.
Yeah, so ChatGPT or GPT-4 now, let's just call it, is an AI system, is a large language model that was developed by OpenAI. OpenAI is a company that was funded by Elon Musk, and now he's sadly out. He's out. He's no longer part of it, but he funded that company.
I think he started with 10 million, something like this.
I don't know. Figures say anywhere between 25 to 100 million dollars. It was because of Elon that they got traction and they got the necessary funds to start this business. Anyway, GPT is a large language model, a generative model, AI, that helps you do a lot of things through text prompting. So you enter whatever you want. You can ask it to do anything you want. I've been testing it for a long time now, and I can tell you that for me, there's the era before ChatGPT, and now there's the era after ChatGPT. I can't live without it. I use it every single day.
I have used it once in writing a research paper, and it was just like done. Boom.
Yeah.
The research paper was about, I can't really remember, but it was just like a test about dinosaurs and stuff. And I just placed the keywords, and then within seconds, I've had it done.
Yeah.
And zero plagiarism and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's tempting to use that, but you shouldn't be plagiarizing everything like that.
I was just like testing it, obviously. I'm not going to use it.
Yeah. So let me tell you what I use it for. ChatGPT, I've been using it a lot every single day for writing emails, for giving me ideas on what to write in articles, analyzing data. I analyze lots of data with ChatGPT, preparing and formulating strategies and plans, and a lot of other things. I ask it questions. It's my Google right now. It's my new form of Google. I like to go to ChatGPT first, ask it the questions I want, and get all the answers I want. Now, remember, there are some drawbacks with ChatGPT or GPT.
In terms of what exactly?
In terms of, well, not everything that you see not all the responses are accurate. Even OpenAI tells you that some of the responses are inaccurate, harmful, or just wrong. Okay. And the problem with these kind of chatbot systems is that they have something called hallucinations. They hallucinate. They make up stuff. And there's another problem that OpenAI talks about. If you read their system card, they talk about something called over-reliance on the system. So because you start believing more and more in the system,
so
you might be misled into believing that everything that it says is correct.
That's correct, yeah.
It's not.
It makes sense.
Sometimes it makes up things. I'll give you an example. One guy sued an airline. He was a passenger in an airline. I read that on the news. He sued the airline because the flight attendant passed by, and you know they have these large metallic, what do you call these things? The trays.
The trolleys or trays.
The trolleys. Okay. So that thing hit his elbow, and he was somehow hurt.
Okay.
So he decided to sue the airline, and he used ChatGPT to write the entire thing. The problem is he used 6 references. ChatGPT recommended 6 references for the lawsuit.
Okay.
And it turns out to be that none of these references were real. It just made up the whole thing.
Okay.
The references part, at least. So that's the problem with these kind of generative models. They have something called hallucinations. But apart from that, let's talk about the advantages. I use ChatGPT every day, and it's just incredible. It's so powerful. You just can't imagine what this thing can do. After using it, I can tell you that AI is going to be the most powerful thing that we've ever created as humans in the history of humanity, because it could do anything.
Basically, the Chat GPT is the predecessor of AI. Is
You
that
mean
what you're-
AGI?
Yeah, AGI.
Yes, I think that's the case. I think that GPT is going to be the precursor. That's, I think, the appropriate word, an app description would be the precursor to AGI, to artificial general intelligence. It's
When do you
not
think
there
it-
yet.
When do you think it was introduced? Like, what year exactly?
GPT, it was
Yeah.
introduced in 2018 when OpenAI published the paper on.
Because to be honest with you, I just heard about it like last year.
Yeah,
I just knew about it last year.
Yeah, it went on mainstream media last year, but it was long in the works for about, I don't know, 5 years or 4 years by
And then they
OpenAI.
introduced it. But
Yeah.
they were like putting in the work for like, let's say the last 5 years. And then they,
Yeah,
made it go like out in public in 2022.
yeah,
you could say.
absolutely. Yeah, so with GPT 3.5, that made a big fuss. And everybody then started noticing generative models. You see, before GPT or ChatGPT,
Okay.
AI experts thought that it would take decades to reach what we have reached right now. And because of this new technology, the large language models, the generative models, by the way, generative means it generates new information.
By itself.
Yeah. Pre-trained means GPT. Pre-trained means that it was initially trained on a large corpus of text, data, okay, unsupervised. Remember we talked about the types of machine learning: unsupervised, supervised,
And
semi-supervised, reinforcement learning. GPT-4 is based on reinforcement learning. It is going to improve, and we will definitely see AGI one day because of this. And AGI will be...
And do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing if we get to see like AGI?
Well, that goes back to our previous episode. We talked about the dangers of AI.
Let's say if we like finally get into the last stage where we get to see ourselves like merging in with the AI, having like biochips and stuff.
You see, my dream, here's the thing. My dream, I didn't even tell you about this, but for 2 decades actually, I've been dreaming of having a digital assistant. And if you remember the movie Iron Man, it was released in 2008, I believe.
The first one was in 2008, yes.
Yeah, I was so fascinated by Jarvis. If you remember Jarvis,
And
the
that's
AI
epic.
assistant.
Imagine if you have it like at home. And it just like helps you in everything. That's just beautiful.
For years, I've been waiting for something like Jarvis. And I remember when IBM released their IBM Watson. Well, I don't know if you know about IBM Watson, but IBM introduced Watson. And I tried to create something similar to Jarvis, but I failed. I was trying to play with the APIs with IBM Watson, and it did not work. But now, OpenAI released this ChatGPT, and it changed everything for me. It's a dream come true.
Wow.
What a time to be alive, man. I use this thing every day, and I can tell you that I can't live without it anymore. It's that powerful now.
How accurate is it, like when it comes to interactive commands? Like when you want to talk to it, like let's say.
It can understand everything. It understands natural language, natural language processing. It's just like having a conversation with a human. Although sometimes the verbosity might be too much. It might sound a little bit too robotic, but you can even dial it down. You can tell it whatever you want. You can say, for example, you can enter a prompt and say, I want you to talk to me like, let's say, I don't know, some celebrity, and sound like him. It would even sound like a celebrity.
Okay.
Or dumb it down if you want.
Like let's say if you want to have like let's say a continuous chat with ChatGPT.
It will continuously chat with you all night long, and I've been doing it for a while. Yeah,
like it's flowable, like with no pauses and stuff and lags. And,
absolutely, it can keep going on and on and on. But here's the thing: I forgot to tell you this. GPT 3.5 is free and open to the public.
Okay.
But GPT-4, which is the more advanced version, is not for free. You have to pay $20, $20 a month to access GPT-4.
And why is that? Like, what is the
what is the difference?
Yeah, what is the difference?
Well,
the extreme
there are major differences in between ChatGPT 3.5 and GPT-4.
Okay.
First of all, GPT-4 has 40% less hallucinations than GPT 3.5, which means that it's 40% more accurate. It's not going to make up stuff. by less than 40%.
Okay.
And if you look at the benchmarks, GPT-4 scored extremely well for things like the Uniform Bar Exam and the LSAT and SATs. It did so much better than GPT 3.5. I mean, on the bar exam, 3.5 did poorly, and with GPT-4,
In terms of what did it like surpass it? Like,
we're talking about the exams. We're talking about the exam results. So they gave it simulated exams to see how well it will perform in comparison to a human. Remember, they're working eventually on AGI. Even Sam Altman is the founder of OpenAI. He said that when they started OpenAI, everybody laughed at them because they said they wanted to go after AGI, and everybody thought that's ridiculous. It's preposterous.
yeah,
It
it's
can't
not
be
going
done.
to happen. Yeah.
But then once ChatGPT came along, everybody started listening now. And Sam Altman got all the attention.
We have been a misunderstood and badly mocked org for a long time. Like when we started, we announced the org at the end of 2015 and said we were going to work on AGI. Like people thought we were batshit insane.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember at the time a eminent AI scientist at a large industrial AI lab was like DMing individual reporters being like, you know, these people aren't very good and it's ridiculous to talk about AGI and I can't believe you're giving them time of day. And it's like, that was the level of like pettiness and rancor in the field at a new group of people saying we're going to try to build AGI.
So OpenAI and DeepMind was a small collection of folks who were brave enough to talk about AGI in the face of mockery.
We don't get mocked as much now.
Don't get mocked as much now.
But the thing is, GPT-4 is much more powerful than GPT 3.5 because it hallucinates less than 40% less than 3.5, and also it's trained on even a larger corpus of text, and it can process much more information than 3.5. So the tokens that it can process is much more than 3.5. Think about it as a more accurate version of 3.5, and it is safer as well. So some people, some bad actors might instruct it to say or do bad things. For example, how do I kill somebody? Or how can I do money laundering the most effective way? Or how can I, whatever. So GPT-4 is now safer. It does not accept commands. It won't process commands that are unsafe, harmful, or hateful. So it's also safer. And yeah.
So how does GPT-4 handle the understanding and generation of language differently from human beings?
Well, if you want to understand how that
Because
works.
like this is the upgraded part from 3.5 to GPT-4.
No, but they all share the same technology, the same core technology, which is transformer. Remember, they're called GPT, which stands for, we talked about this, generative pre-trained transformer.
Transformer, yeah.
They're all based on this transformer technology that we talked about in the previous episode. Remember, we talked about machine learning and we talked about the different types of machine learning. We
In
have
episode 1, yes.
supervised, unsupervised. Supervised learning means that you know the answer and it's labeled. Unsupervised means that it's not labeled and the answer is not known. And then there's reinforcement learning. Anyway, these are technical topics, but if you want to understand how this thing works, it works by trying to predict what's going to come next. And the text, it tries to predict what comes next. And it works because it analyzed a large corpus of text, of data, and through this analysis, through machine learning, it tries to predict what comes next.
So how does OpenAI plan to mitigate these risks and ensure the responsible use of these models? What do you think?
Well, OpenAI, I think they did a good job. They employed over 50 experts
Yeah.
in different fields, okay, to try to test the model and see what are the loopholes in the model. So they tested the model all the way from chemical weapons to, sexual things, horrible things, dangerous things, harmful things. So they tested the model, and during their adversarial testing, they tried to find out if the model would be, if you can circumvent the model. So GPT-4 is safer than GPT 3.5. Because remember, some bad
Because
people.
it becomes more accurate. So that's the reason why.
Let's say some people can hack ChatGPT.
Okay.
What's the word that I'm looking for? Circumvent.
Okay.
There's something called guardrails, which are restrictions that the model cannot, that the model is limited to. So, for example, if you tell the model, "Make me a bomb," the model would refuse. But some people might find ways to overcome such restrictions. It's all about the way you prompt it. So GPT-4,
So it can be hacked. That's the thing. Yeah.
in theory, yes, but GPT-4 now became much more difficult. I'll give you a small example of how you can circumvent it. I made a video on YouTube on GPT-4. I was so excited about it, and I called the video "Revolution is Coming." And
Do please tell everyone what's the name of your
absolutely, my channel's name is WYS by Adam Lash.
channel? WIS by Adam Lash.
Yeah, so I made a video on that, and I tested ChatGPT or GPT-4 with the SATs. And if you try this now, it will refuse to take an SAT exam. It would say, as an AI language model, blah blah blah, I cannot take tests. So how did I circumvent that? I found a way. I found a way to circumvent that and for it to take a real SAT test. Watch the video. I found a way to do that by asking it to, I say, here's the text, analyze it, and answer the question. And by the way, it was able to answer every single question on the SAT correctly. This is the scary part.
Yeah, we will just place the link down below so that you guys can
Absolutely
watch the video and learn about it furthermore.
But man, can you imagine this? This thing was able to, the reason why I got so excited about this is because it was able to pass the test. It answered the questions correctly. It doesn't matter what question you give it.
Wow. That's
Just imagine you give it any math question, any English passage. I gave it even English passages. I say, this is the passage, analyze this passage and answer the questions.
okay.
And it was able to answer all the questions, man.
Wow. That's just,
This is crazy. And remember,
It is.
it has never seen these questions before. This is the beauty of machine learning.
so how is it? You placed let's say the entire questions at once and then it solved it immediately?
No, not at once, one by one.
One by one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. First, I had to feed it the passage.
So
it had to analyze the passage.
It takes the questions in segments and then it just
Yeah.
answers.
I mean, I found that to be the most effective way.
Have you ever tried to place them all at once and you just wait for the answer?
I don't know if that's going to work, but I highly suspect it's going to work. Remember, they have guardrails, so it's not supposed to take a test to begin with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but how about let's say you tweak it somehow. You don't mention
What I mentioned to the model was
you don't mention it's a test. You just have questions and that's
yeah, exactly. I said to the model, "This is a passage. I
Okay.
want you to analyze this passage. It can analyze any passage. It's supposed to, it's programmed to analyze passages. I want you to analyze this passage and answer the questions."
without mentioning the word
Without
test
having
or
to say,
exam.
without having to say that it's an SAT.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. But the thing is, ChatGPT is a powerful technology that I believe is going to be the precursor to AGI. One day, artificial general intelligence is going to make a huge debut. And we talked about this in the previous video. We don't know what's going to happen exactly, but it might lead to super intelligence, which might lead to the singularity, which might lead to a super intelligent AI taking over the world. One of the scenarios, of course.
Okay,
You have to be careful with this.
Thank you so much, Adam. And we came to an end of today's episode on ChatGPT, and hopefully we get to see you on the third episode.
Thanks,
Stay
man.
tuned, and hopefully we get to see you on the next episode of Adam and Nard Show.